go.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Hey, motherfucker. What you like to do?
Oh, I don't know. Play chess. Screw.
Well, let's play chess.
They give off to Jonathan Taylor. Jump cutting his way. Close to the goal line. He's in there. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y. Jonathan Taylor.
Wheeler finds Quan from the window.
Here's Halliburton into the front court. Mishandled it, but gets a shot. Hits it. Hits it.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
You know what? You find a way, don't you? You adapt. And I'm assuming this was so much unlike any bye week that we have been a part of with the Colts here in recent memory. And there's no feeling of dread. There was no anger. There was no spin control over stuff going haywire. You just kind of sat back and you relaxed and you watched what went down. Now, granted, you can look at what went down and there was nothing really beneficial. I will say this, though, that if I'm a Colts fan, I'm not going to necessarily look at it that way. I'm going to look at it as they've laid the groundwork. And now it's time to put everybody and their apprehension, their question and belief. Now it's time to flex that up and put that to bed. And I'm talking on a variety of levels. We'll get to Arrowhead coming up in a minute, coming up on Sunday. But the levels that I'm talking about, first things first, you still, even with that incredible win, Jacksonville at home over the Chargers yesterday, it's really tough to figure out if the Chargers are good or if they're bad. It's like somewhere in between most of the time. Granted, in the toughest division in the NFL, it always seems like 1 week, man, they can lay it out there and put it to you, and then the other week, they just might be simply put meat and done. They were meat yesterday. Didn't seem like there was a great deal of fight in that. Just not good in general for them. And then Jacksonville, a couple of games back with that win yesterday, 35-6 was the final. You know, talking about flexing, you would think, right, that is a major flex by the Jaguars, but at the same time, you saw their act the week prior, and you also understand the act of the Chargers, so I don't know if it has that desired impact. They're like, all right, it's flip a coin. Somebody is probably going to look like a horse's ass after this game, right? Like either one of them. You can flip a coin. I know when we did our Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila shots back on Thursday at the Upstairs Pub in Bloomington. You know, I thought at the time, I'm going to go ahead and take Jacksonville. I'm not a firm believer in this, but I mean, either one. So what is you think, the most common angle as to why you might pick one or the other? And that is home field. So you take that and you run with it. You know, the other thing about not having your team play is you got to sit back, relax, and either watch the red zone for everything or just watch games in their entirety yesterday. There was a lot of relaxation going on the entirety of the weekend. I know a lot of you had hard targeted on Saturday. I'm going to rake leaves, and I'm going to put up Christmas decorations. I don't know with the wind that you could do either one successfully. But both Saturday and Sunday, even though on Sunday it was a bit colder than it was on Saturday, fantastic weekend. And now we all get prepared for a stretch run where there are a lot of ups. Now, there are the occasional downs. You do wonder what in the world you're going to see, what you expect coming out in Kansas City. You want to know how wounded. You saw Patrick Mahomes yesterday. He basically shouldered the load of disappointment in that loss in Denver. So I think we all understand how he is in general, but this is the highest of the high that is going to be coming in, are you ready for this? A must-win situation for them. How many must-win situations for teams have we seen in recent history playing the Colts? I mean, you've heard from me. I mean, hell, every week's a must-win for me. Or at least it's felt like it, right? How many times in recent memory do you conclude that the opposition, the team that the Colts are playing, has a must-win situation? Doesn't seem like it's very often, does it? Yeah, I'm sure there's probably something I just don't sitting right here recollect, but it doesn't seem like it's happened very often. And not only do you have a must-win for Kansas City at home, but you have a quarterback, again, as I mentioned, shouldering the load of disappointment, blaming himself. That requires an immediate and a forceful response normally, doesn't it? Especially from somebody at that level. We'll make the connection, the relatable to that of the Pacers coming up in a minute. Now, it's a distant relatable, but relatable nonetheless. But now he's taking the blame. That was me, and I got to be better, and I got to make throws, and he did miss really an incredible amount of throws. But the Colts have going for him this. You have going for them, hopefully, and we'll find out as the week moves forward here, if we can finally have cobbled together the secondary that we all want to see. I mean, it's one thing to implement Sauce Gardner in the trade deadline week, in a week when you go to Berlin and play, and then an off week for the bye. It's one thing to throw him in, but you got your fingers crossed and you're hoping that Charvarius Ward returns. And really, if you're going by name recognition, and in a lot of respects, I think most of us do, you look at these guys that are name, and that's what makes you feel really good about the situation. I'm very excited and hopeful that this would be the Sunday where we're going to see all these guys play together. You'll see Ward and Gardner and Cross and Bynum and Kenny Moore. Now, I also understand this, that one of the drawbacks to it all is the simple fact that you're concerned about DeForest Buckner. And you're always going to have concerns. Injury concerns are never going to go away. The fact that they're not even more severe with this team, considering what the Pacers are going through and considering what is normalcy around here, I would say it. Now, I soak in it just like you do around here, but I would say that there is no fan base in America that has been absolutely put through the ringer with ridiculous injuries as this one. It is always something, and it is completely out of our control, which drives us all insane. But it's always something. Always something. Why is it always something? I would suggest this, and this is absolutely, I love DeForest Buckner, and you want to see him out there because you fear that teams are going to be able to run. But when I look at the grand scheme of Colts injuries, considering what we've dealt with in the past, considering what we're dealing with right now with the Pacers, I mean, hell, I feel good about this. The thing that I'm apprehensive about feeling good about is just the overall level of play. Where's this squad going to be coming off the bye week? Is it going to be that group that got outplayed, especially defense to offense in Pittsburgh? Is it going to be that group that had to survive in Berlin because the defense also got to their offense? I mean, it's one thing to have your offense not to be, and we knew this wasn't going to last. They weren't going to be the greatest offense of all time. They weren't going to hold that up. But, I mean, you can't go to the penthouse and the outhouse as quickly as they did with this. Hopefully there's a little bit of medium, of common ground here between the good and the bad, right? To close out this season. And you don't want the whole Daniel Jones situation to all of a sudden turn into the proverbial pumpkin either. People ask me this, most commonly asked question leading into this weekend was, all right, so what Colts team, is it the first 8 wins? Is it the 8 wins of the season, or is it the 2 losses? And I'm going to go ahead and take the Rams out of it. Is it more the last 2 games? And that's a win, and that's a loss. And I will tell you this, it's got to make you feel good if you're a Colts fan from this angle. That Atlanta game with Colts teams in the past would have been an absolute L. Now, provided they would not be in this situation in the first place with some of those clown shows. But normal circumstances would provide the Colts an L in a game like they played, especially in the second half. Think about how they had to survive. Equate that with how IU had to survive in that same weekend in Happy Valley. Yeah, normalcy suggests that IU would also end that in a similar dynamic with a loss. There are a lot of reasons to believe, I guess what I'm saying is, that not only you have a really good team, much like we've seen with IU in the football program, much like we've seen with the Colts out to an 8-2 start, a really good team. And maybe at some point, the world of good fortune will decide to shine a light. And I know what you're saying. You're going to say, well, wait a minute. Look at all that good fortune in the postseason for the Pacers. The fan base around here, they're owed all this right now because all the shots that drop from Tyrese Halliburton, all that, when it really matters, good fortune, at some point you have to pay the price. I would suggest that we have been paying the price leading up to last spring for years around here. Think about the level of jackassery or the level of how should I put this? Jackastic things, injury-wise, that have happened to your favorite teams around here. I mean, even going all the way back to Paul George, Team USA, I think I'm going to go in and break my leg under the basket. There's been a serious amount of ridiculous, FUBAR, incredible situations that just, you would think on the surface, requires a great deal of bad luck. So I thought that it was almost like the world of good fortune giving back to this fan base back in the spring with the Pacers. It's almost like you owe us good fortune for that layup against Milwaukee. You owe us good fortune for that bounce in New York. Because you end up getting it back at the 7-minute mark of the first quarter in game number 7 in Oklahoma City, don't you? Yeah, now you're living in it again. It is incredible. So I kind of look at this Colts team right now with the worst that is going on all around us. And I hate it because DeForest Buckner's injured, but I think there's good reason to feel certainly better than average about what the rest of this season is going to look like for this group. I'll tell you what, too. Good fortune, you're allowed to stay with us longer than like 5 minutes. True story. Good fortune rolls up like it's Amazon and drops off your package and then leaves. And then most recently with the Pacers, they drop off your package and then somebody steals it off your front porch. That's what good fortune's been. And at some point, too, it's got to be more than just good fortune. Like IU is more than just good fortune. They made their own fortune there. The Colts made their fortune. That third down scramble by Daniel Jones, the fourth down play to Tyler Warren, having a kicker that nobody trusted to do anything right, get a couple of good kicks there. I mean, that was more than good fortune. I mean, that was focus, that was getting the job done. But there's always more to that. And the Colts are going to have to show that there's more to that. Now, there's going to be a point, too, where IU is going to be put in the situation. Like, I would say this, and I know they still have the bucket game, and I think Ohio State still has both Rutgers this weekend and then Michigan. But, the ultimate test in the Big Ten championship game, if IU, assuming, makes it there, I mean, all eyes are going to be on that. All eyes are going to be on that. Is this team for real? And that's just the territory in which they're around right now. There's nothing you can do about it. And they're probably going to be proving themselves all the way up through, winning everything. And then into next year. Because there are a lot of people in college football that don't accept you for being IU, don't accept the situation, don't understand it, think it's all a bunch of luck, but they don't understand what we've dealt with over the years around here. And the same can be true, the same certainly can be said about the Colts going to Kansas City coming up this weekend. In terms of must-wins, this is one for Kansas City without question. You saw how that all transpired yesterday. But I would suggest that the rest of the NFL world are going to have Nance and Romo and Wolfson hard targeted on that incredible dump in Kansas City where the Colts have to go play coming up on Sunday. But the NFL world is going to be going, all right, so this is going to be real? Is this real from now on or not? And I know everybody wants to say, well, you have a wiggle room. You're up 2 games on Jacksonville. You still have 2 games with them, 2 games with the Texans. Yeah, all right. But if you're the Colts, much like if you're IU, you're doing what? You're constantly having to prove yourself. And again, this is not either newfound territory. The Pacers were constantly proving themselves. You get knocked out in round number 1 by Milwaukee. There's no way you can beat Cleveland in the Eastern Conference semifinals. No way you're going to beat New York. Beaten in straight sets against OKC. They were constantly having to prove themselves, and I think that's just around here a rite of passage. That's not me trying to play the victim or the whiner or, oh, woe was us, but I think that's what you're always doing around here, always having to reprove yourself. I mean, hell, Purdue had to do it last week. Like the first 2 games of the stinking season. Oh, Purdue dropped in the polls from 1 to 2 because they didn't beat the absolute dog crap out of Oakland. And then we saw what that provided in the past, too, and especially in Alabama and Tuscaloosa on Thursday. You're always having to reprove yourself. Braden Smith, player of the year back-to-back. Braden Smith, arguably the best player again in college basketball. What do you got to do? Reprove yourself. You're not quick enough, not good enough. Constantly. So I just think we're kind of used to it around here. Those are the thoughts that came to me over what was a fantastic weekend. I did 3.5 hours of all request radio without phones on Saturday night. And that's essential. Phones are essential. Hey, they all request Saturday night. Here's your phone. Oh, well, they don't work right now. So here's what's great, though. The one thing about it is fun brings us all together. Because we live in such everybody is out to be a jackass type of world, and everybody wants you as miserable as them. And and hopefully all of you out there like me, say no to that. I'm not here to be miserable. I'm here to have a damn good time or die trying. True story. So we had a damn good time on Saturday night. I did 3.5 hours. I don't even know what I played, but it was some wild stuff. And then you guys got involved in social media because you understood the gravity of the situation. Man, that's why we get along right there. That's why radio's important too. We can always make that adjustment. Yeah, there was no little thing spinning around saying I don't have enough bandwidth or enough memory, anything like that. You know what we did? We just did. In a fun way. Yeah, I love radio. So, yeah, that happened on Saturday. What else happened? Oh, yeah, I mentioned IU football over Wisconsin. Honestly, I got nothing against Luke Fickell because this all took place long before he got there, but I did want to see IU beat the absolute hell out of Wisconsin more than they ultimately did. 31-7 wasn't good. I wanted like an 80 spot from past transgressions against the Badgers, but no, it's good enough. Hey, Bullseye's got a party, and again, we'll see who ends up being in the Big Ten championship game, but Bullseye's got a party. All week long I've got passes to give away for that pregame party. You know how incredible that is? What makes it more incredible is I'm entering Christmas music hiatus after this final Saturday, so I'm going to be available to be a part of that with Kyle Kinnett. You think this guy's going to get a little bit loose over the hiatus? He's probably going to get a little bit loose over the hiatus. Anybody that wants to have some fun, anybody that digs on fun, you are more willing than ever to join. We'll go over yesterday in week number 11. I got to look back on my picks. My fantasy team got whipped. I got back to 500. I started out the season awful. I had more injuries than the Pacers. And then I got back to 500. I beat James's ass last week and got back to 500. And I think I lost fairly handily over the weekend. I'm living my life right now like Drake May. I got to count on a Waddle and A.J. Brown and what he feels like. Whining about stuff. You imagine being on that Philly team and you win all these one-score games? And I know that's just a rite of passage if you're a wide receiver. You're always going to end up whining about something. How about Kansas City in one scores? They had won like 17 straight, I think, or something like that. That's why people always suggest they get the benefit of the whistle. And what was interesting last night on Sunday Night Football, you have Philadelphia in all these one-score wins. Everybody is arguing about how they got the benefit of a flag. True. All right, college, we'll get to college basketball. IU and winner yesterday. Incarnate Word, that's what happens. And that was good for Darren DeVries and his team. That shows you that you have to bring more than just your jumper. Because sometimes you're going to be broke as a joke. And they were broke as a joke yesterday. That is still a good shooting group. But even good shooters can be broke. And they were broke yesterday. And I don't care if it's Incarnate Word or, I can't even pronounce it right, or Michigan or whomever. In games in which you're broke, you have to find another way. And those are games you also have to survive. IU did that. I mentioned the Boilermakers over Akron yesterday. An impressive week for them. We'll get to Butler as well. IU Indy, I like to talk about their pace of play. Monon Bell, we got a lot to talk about it. 239-1070. Email address, JMV at 1075thefan.com. Text line is wide open at 317-239-1070. I know you guys want to go to this Bullseye party. I'm going to give you a chance for the next couple of weeks to win these because we have a while until that takes place. But believe me, that will be upon us before you know it. Going to be a hell of a party, too. Make no mistake about that. All right, stream the app, HD Radio, AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Michael Penix done for the season, too. Former IU quarterback. But that and more for you. Chris Daenerys in Detroit. And then there were the Pacers with all sorts of issues. And Daenerys had to do, you see the broadcast he had to do on the phone the other night? Now that is a professional when you have to do the television broadcast on the phone. Daenerys joins us on the other side. Stephen Holder in the 5 o'clock hour. Stuff to give away and a fantastic Monday set in motion for you. AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
JMV.
Look at all those ding-dongs.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
One of our good friends, and I mean all of us, because he is an incredible dude, loves Indiana sports, staked out in Southern California. Our friend Jim McCann is dealing with he's going through some stuff right now, health-wise, and going to get over the top and going to be back and better than ever. And I'm not going to go into the details. I just know that I can speak, and I will speak for everybody around here, because I'm assuming most of you have heard from him. We love you, Jim McCann, and we are thinking about you, my brother. Kick ass, take names. We'll see you back here certainly in the month of May for our Carb Day Spectacular. But it is not lost on us that we are thinking about you, my brother. And I know a lot of you out there know Jim, and he is the absolute best. And we are thinking about you, Jim McCann, on a day like today, for sure. Jim McCann, Southern California. Stephen Holder, ESPN, ESPN.com, covers the Colts. Joins us coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. 239-1070. Wendell, I got that pronunciation right. We're not going to it yet, but Wendell, sit tight. I'm going to put you in line at the front with all those that want to get on coming up in a second. Meantime, on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, he is the voice, whether we're talking about into a microphone headset or into his own phone, of the Pacers for Pacers TV. Chris Denary joins us live from the toilet tonight, the side of the Pacers and the Pistons later on this evening. Chris joins us now. Hello, Chris.
How you doing, JMV? I know I'm in your favorite state, so
how's the toilet treating you today?
It's sunny.
Is it really? I didn't know the sun came out in the toilet. I thought everything looked like rust and BO and yellow armpit smudges. No?
No, it's a cool area where we stay.
Cool area.
We're not far away from Little Caesars Arena. Went to shoot around earlier today. Little chilly, but bright sunshine, pretty clear skies here in Detroit today.
Oh, there you go. Well, it's very cloudy and not even uncertain. I don't want to say uncertainty, because things have been certain in a while that this Pacer team struggle to really keep anything going and certainly to win games. We'll start right here with the possibility of Benedict Mathurin being back later on tonight.
I would think that's a strong possibility. We'll know officially before the game, but everything was trending in the right direction for Ben to come back. He had two really good games. In the two that he's played, 36 and 26, and the Pacers would desperately need his productivity and his scoring right now. If you look back at the Toronto game on Saturday night, Pascal Siakam and Andrew Nembhard, I thought were both terrific. They combined for 50-plus points, shot better than 50% from the field. I think the two of them were combined 9 of 15 from three, but the rest of the team not so good. So, it's a heavy burden on those two guys right now, especially with Obi Toppin out and Aaron Nesmith's going to be out for some time. Getting Benedict Mathurin back tonight will be big for this team.
He's Chris Denary, voice of the Pacers TV. By the way, excellent job on the phone the other night. Having been there and done that, certainly not in front of that big of an audience, I know exactly what you dealt with.
Yeah, it was one of those situations. We were sitting there. It was third quarter and maybe into the fourth, and all of a sudden everything went dead on from a TV perspective. Now my iPad was still working, the stat monitor was still working. I looked down at Eddie Johnson and Kevin Ray with Phoenix. They were just down from us, and they lost everything too. And so it was the power grid backed by the TV trucks that somebody opened a door that they weren't supposed to open, and it absolutely killed everything. So
yeah,
our producer gave me a call on my phone, and he said, "Here's a number for you to dial into Atlanta." And so I just blindly put this number into my phone, and then JJ was talking to our producer and our director, and they just said, "Go." And so I went. I wasn't sure what anybody could see. I wasn't sure if we were truly on the air. But I tried to be as descriptive as possible. Unfortunately, things were not going very well at that point for the Pacers. Devin Booker was sort of taken over, and I just did a little bit of, I guess, radio play-by-play into my phone that was on television. So yeah, I had not done one of those, John, in 30 years. I remember Ralph Reef and I were in Milwaukee. Probably, I guess it would have been about 25 years ago. We were in Milwaukee, and they messed up our phone line, and our equipment wouldn't work or whatever, and so we had to find another phone line, and we basically passed a handset back and forth as I would call the play-by-play and then hand it to Ralph for some commentary. Then he'd give me the phone back. I would do play-by-play. So it sort of reminded me of those days.
I once upon a time in 1993, I was a senior at Indiana State, and I was with the baseball team at LSU, and I had to do play-by-play from a payphone on my MCI calling card during the entirety of a game because I couldn't get the equipment to work.
Hey, one of my favorite stories was I was at University of Indianapolis, Indiana Central. That was probably 40 years ago. We're playing at IUPUI in the gym. Bob Lovell is the athletic director and the basketball coach. They don't have my phone line in courtside, so I had to go up by Bob's office and alligator clip to his phone in his office. And there is a window there. I don't know if it's still there. I literally called the game through a window, and I would put the crowd mic up against as close to the window as possible to see if I could get any sound out of it. And that's where I ultimately did the game. So,
technical issues happen, and it doesn't really matter what era of technology we're in. I mean, hell, I had 3.5 hours with no phones for the All Request Saturday night on Saturday night, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So you just have to deal with it. You just roll. You do.
The Pacers are trying to deal with it right now, and I'll make a comparison. So they're playing a team in Detroit that's 11-2. Detroit has gone through a similar level of losing in the not-so-distant past. And I'm talking about all these guys, Cunningham, Duran, Thompson. These guys have all dealt with what the Pacers are going through right now. And certainly at 11-2, at this moment, they look better for it.
Yeah, no question. I mean, this was 2 years ago. So in 23-24, when the Pacers were going to the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years ago, it was a season where Detroit lost 28 in a row. At one point, they were 3-36, and again, it was with Duran and Ivy and Cunningham and Stewart and all these guys. Now, I'm hopeful that we're not looking at something like that right now for the Pacers, but it shows you that things can happen, and when injuries happen, it can really compromise you. If you go back to 2019. When Toronto beat Golden State to win the title, the next year Klay Thompson either tore his ACL or his Achilles. Steph played like 5 games, and it was as we got into COVID, and Golden State went 15-50, and that was a year removed from going to the NBA Finals. So it tells you that injuries play a huge role. I think the Pacers felt good, even with Tyrese Halliburton out, they thought, going into the year, okay, we still got the bulk of our team. The problem is now the bulk of the team is injured and guys that you're dealing with, but you have to figure a way out of it. I see this group working hard every day. I thought Pascal Siakam's comments after the game on Saturday night were very good from a leadership perspective. So Rick Carlisle said it, John, before the game. He said the NBA is humbling. And as good as you can have it, as Indiana had it back in June, a half away from winning a title, it's not going so well right now. But you just got to keep fighting and see what can happen. And I told you this. We talked off air the other day. I knew when the schedule came out with 7 of the first 12 on the road and 7 against the Western Conference, that even with a healthy team, it was going to be tough to be around 500. But with all the injuries that they've had, it's just made it even worse.
The one thing, and Chris Denary joins us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, that concerns me is what you can see in the obvious finger pointing and bickering that has been going on with a team that you never felt it's ever been like that before. And this is all with this losing streak, with the disappointment. It can all lead down this path. That is something that everybody's going to have to get a hold of here relatively soon.
Well, I think, there's always frustration. And I think, looking at this group and watching them at shoot around today, I mean, they're still all in. They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure out how do we get out of this situation. And quite honestly, guys have to be better. If you look at Detroit the last two games, they played without Cunningham and Duran, and Thompson's been out, and Ivy's out, and Tobias Harris was out, but they have found a way to win games. So you just gotta fight through it. Some guys have to play better. There's no question about that. I think getting Benedict Mathurin back will be a huge boost to this team because it gives them some offense to help Nembhard and Siakam that they've sorely been lacking here over the last couple of weeks.
All right, so Pistons and Pacers coming up later on tonight, and obviously, there's a team in need of any positivity. And the return of Mathurin, if that's what ends up being solidified, there's some at least positivity right there. I think what is most disappointing to me, and maybe we already knew this, Chris, maybe they can, size it up and get better. But you got a couple of guys that have played significant supporting roles in the past that have not translated when they're being counted upon. And they're both from the same draft class. And that's Walker and that's Shepard. That has just been disappointing with the production we've seen from them when their team needs it.
Well, especially early, I thought Jarrah shot the ball really, really well early. He had a 20-point game and a 17-point game and had a stretch where I think he was 8 of 16 from three-point shot. But for whatever reason, that has gone away over the last 5 or 6 games, and Ben Shepard too. Hopefully with Mathurin back, that takes a little bit of pressure off those two guys and they can play a little bit more loose. And I think that's got to be – I think Pascal Siakam said that on Saturday night. Guys just got to be a little bit more loose now. They played a little too tight, and that can happen when things go bad. So those will be things to watch. I also think it's too bad that Johnny Furphy and Q and Quentin Jackson have been out, because Jackson was a big reason the Pacers won their only game against Golden State. And Johnny Furphy had, I thought, a really good summer and was trending to be a rotational player early in the season, but he's been out with an ankle injury. So, yeah, all of those things have just piled on and created those, not so good opportunities right now.
All right. Shout out to technology tonight. Shall you stay in place for Chris Denary on the road in Detroit coming up later on tonight on Pacers TV, the voice of the Pacers. Chris kind enough to join us on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Hopefully here soon, beginning tonight, things get a little bit better. I know how brutal that can be. Hang in.
All right. Thanks, John. So
Chris Denary on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Jarris Walker has stunk. Ben Shepard has stunk. This 3 big man rotation stank, and stunk. So you got 5 stunks right there. Just stinks. Stunks. That's what you can. I know Bradley probably doesn't deserve that, and maybe to a degree, Jax, but they're all like Jackson's a backup, and the other 2 are barely rotational if you plan on being good. They're rotational if you suck. Ooh, that's a good one right there. That's what the Pacers have, a lot of guys that are rotational right now if you suck. And it's true just in this world of the NBA. And it's not like we need to look very far for a lot of proof. Man, Mathurin, it'd be nice to see him reemerge coming up later on tonight. We discussed that. Colts Conversations on the other side at 239-1070 as well. Charvarius Ward coming back to play this weekend. That'd be great. DeForest Buckner until at least December the 14th. They're meeting against the Seahawks. More on that. Former Colts kicker Matt Gay released by the Commanders. Not a lot of surprise there considering what we witnessed when he was here. Stream the app, HD Radio, the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. You guys, I'm coming at you next. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Oh, so true. I'm going to tell you what, all through the original, I've still not seen the remake, but all through the original of Roadhouse, there is nothing but rules to live by, courtesy of Dalton, the late, great Patrick Swayze. JMV, jackassic will now be a part of my vocabulary forever. Thank you. And it should jackassic. Hey, mark these down, too. If I just so happen to start making up new words like I notoriously do, yeah, mark this down. Jackassic. It's what it is. That's behavior. Yeah, I mentioned the Pacers. It's an incredibly tough watch. Like, I think it's nerdery to talk about entertaining losses, but there's one thing to bring up entertaining losses. Like, you've watched the Pacers recently, and it makes you go someplace else and have zero interest in watching them. You're asking me what I expected. What'd you expect from Walker or Shepard? Something better than this. I mean, Walker's a lottery selection, for goodness sake. Something more than this. And Shepard provides zero help. What did you expect from the three bigs? I mean, you're right. You're talking about two backups, one barely rotational, and one guy that should be playing in the G League. Yes. Yes. Hey, remember, if these guys were healthy, they were going to sell you if they were healthy and playing better than this, you were still going to be sold on this trio of big dudes that can't do anything. That's true. Just until further notice, it's just tough. Like Huff is supposed to be able to shoot. There's no evidence of that so far. It's brutal. Absolutely brutal. So I mentioned good fortune in that opening segment there. You know, good fortune and bad. Yeah, it is one thing to have the tremendous fortune the Pacers had, but, man, paying a craptastic price like this is ridiculous. Hopefully, return of Benedict Mather. I love basketball, and I get the package for free, for goodness sake, this year. Of all the years, it's almost like the NBA knew something. Yeah, we're going to go ahead. DirecTV is going to give you the package for free. It is a tough watch. All right, quick break. We shall return. I've got the text line that is wide open, 317-239-1070. If you want to call in, 239-1070. Got that coming up for you as well. Stephen Holder coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Win Schuler Spreadability. Literally got you covered, especially your burgers. You can dip it with the vegetables, with crackers, with chips. It is fantastic for the holiday season. Put something out and let your family and friends dip away. The spreadability of Win Schuler's original sharp cheddar bacon and cheddar and jalapeno pepper. Find it at your favorite Meijer location, Gordon's Food Service and Neiman's Harvest Market. Win Schuler's spreadability. Hour 2 straight ahead with you next.
On drugs. Any questions?
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, welcome back. Constantly proving yourself. That's what we're always doing around here. All of us. And I know that is part of life in general, not with everybody. Well, Frankie Goes to Hollywood right there, brother. A little Two Tribes. What compelled you to play that, James?
Just looked at it on a playlist, thought it sounded interesting, so decided to go with it.
This would be the other, I don't say hit, it was, I think, in Europe, but the other song that is most memorable outside of Relax by Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
This is probably the first time I've ever heard a Frankie Goes to Hollywood song, so I actually like this.
You've never heard Relax?
Not off the top of my head.
What stinking planet? You've never seen Frankie say Relax t-shirts?
No.
What planet are you from? Oh, always trying to reprove. Like IU, every single week. It's like, oh, well, they didn't beat him by enough here. Heisman Doza, by the way, is now officially in gear. That's the IU quarterback and the IU Heisman Trophy campaign. Does anybody know where they first saw Heisman Doza? Who can we give specific credit to for create? There's got to be like one single person out there that came up with this. Anybody have any idea? Because I want to give credit where credit is due. I come up with all these new words, like I came up with jackastic. Like I always want credit for that. 31-7 was the final. Purdue with an absolute backpedaling no-show in Seattle, losing to the Huskies of Washington 49-13. Those two teams in the bucket game, I think I'm going to try to go because somebody told me that, maybe IU runs roughshod of the Boilermakers, but the party's going to be on up there, so I'm thinking I got to go. Ball State a loser, Notre Dame big on the road at Pittsburgh 37-15, Indiana State a loser to Youngstown State. The Monon Bell to DePaul over Wabash. A busy, busy weekend of college football indeed. JMV, you need to restore order. I thought what Pascal Siakam said is accurate, and he's one of those that's getting frustrated, and you would get frustrated too if guys that have played alongside you that should be stepping up. I'm sorry, Jarris Walker and Ben Shepherd, you have to do more. And you're always going to be able to fall upon the cushion excuse of injuries, but that's crap. They played like crap. And I know that everybody wants to soft touch it, but I'm not going to soft touch it. It's not okay. Looking like that is not okay. I don't care what they gave us last year. I don't care how great last year was. That and playing like that is not okay. And I'm going to start with those two. First-round picks and have been there. They've been in big situations. I mean, hell, Shepherd has started in the Eastern Conference Finals, for goodness sake. I know with different personnel around him. But hell, make a shot. Make a wide-ass open shot. And Jarris Walker, dribble. You got to figure out, everything's got to be a thought about where I'm trying to get to on the floor to be most comfortable to make a shot. That, to me, is frustrating. Like, I make light of the trio of bigs, and Tony Bradley, he is a rotational guy that's out there as a starter, or Isaiah Jackson is a backup that's out there as a starter, and Jay Huff is out there because they have too many dudes on the G League team. But come on. Pascal Siakam was right. And listen, I'll take that all. He talked about to Dustin DePurak of the Star how this can't be it. They have to play better. You have to have more desire than that. I mean, these guys aren't just losing because of injury. They're getting blown out of the arena in embarrassing fashion every single night. Kristen Airy joined us earlier at podcast 1075thefan.com. You'd like me to go Forrest Gump. That's all I got to say about that. But I've got more to say about that because it's crap. You know what? I like these guys and this team and those that put it together and those that are still playing on it too much to just say, oh, well, they're injured, so yeah, you should get de-pants by 30 every night. No, not really. JMV, what's your confidence level for the O-line going into Kansas City? Do you think that they're going to turn it around? Confidence level for the O-line. I think you're going to have to, because Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, if you thought that stuff was thrown at him the last 2 weeks in Pittsburgh and then in Berlin by Atlanta, yeah, you wait until this weekend. And then you also have a desperate team. You have a desperate team. You have a desperate and a beyond motivated quarterback that probably was a little embarrassed by what he said after the loss yesterday in Denver about his performance. Oh, we're going to learn a lot. I think the Colts are good. Won or loss, but we're going to learn a lot about them in Kansas City coming up on Sunday. Hopefully we see Charvarius Ward back. I want to see the secondary all in place for a minute. See, when I talk about the misfortune, Charvarius Ward hasn't played in over a month now, because his tight end, the backup tight end, took him out in warm-ups. See, that's the type of crap that happens around here. You can't make it up. So when you get good fortune that the Pacers had in the spring, I'm going to say we deserve that and 2 more years of it. Absolutely free. It's like me and DirecTV. Yeah, I deserve to get this for free. You guys see how much I pay you every month? The Boilermakers re-solidified at number 1. It was funny, the overreaction with them. Got squashed immediately in Tuscaloosa on Thursday. And I'll be honest with you, I thought scheduling Akron at home, like a sneaky MAC at the end of the year, getting into the tournament and winning the MAC tournament, I don't think that's bad at all. They stayed in it. Kept knocking down shots. But again, Purdue's always having to reprove themselves. IU football constantly having to reprove themselves. Like Mr. Peanut and the Peanut Gallery at ESPN, all but really won. And they get a lot of backhanded compliments. Well, they're good, but now they're good. But you constantly have to reprove yourself. JMV, is it time to stop giving the Chiefs the benefit of the doubt? Matty Matt. I don't think that comes until they lose the West and they either don't make the postseason or are eliminated from the postseason. This is like, they've had such a, to me, Matty Matt, a high level of success over the years with them and their quarterback and their head coach. I mean, you have to, how should I put this? They have to be eliminated. You have to get rid of them. You got to kick him out of the party. Kick him out of the club. You got to get out. I mean, you don't have to go home, but you got to get up out of here. You have to get them out. Remove them from the premises. I think that's fair to say. All right, let's do some calls at 239-1070. I believe I have this right by memory. Wendell joins us now. Hello, Wendell. Did I get that right?
You sure did.
Let me tell you, Wendell, it's really hard because I'm somebody from the 90s that liked Arrested Development, and I can't get past Mr. Wendell. My bad. Wendell, though.
Yeah.
I got Wendell.
Nope.
Rocking. Go ahead.
No problem.
Yes.
I'm actually friends with Speech. I know him pretty well.
No, you don't.
It's kind of funny.
Shout out
Yes,
to
I
Arrested
do.
Development right there.
Yeah, Arrested Development. I've been knowing him for years. Yeah.
Didn't Desiree have a one-hit wonder called "You Gotta Be" from Arrested Development back in the '90s too?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I kind of stopped looking for listening to music back in the '90s.
We can't
maybe
have
a little
that.
bit early '80s. But yeah, I mean, I still listen to stuff. But
What do you listen, Wendell? What do you listen to? If you're going to listen to something right now that's not this radio show, what would you listen to?
Oh, definitely some kind of gospel music. I listen to that now. That's more of my stuff that I listen. But I love jazz, smooth jazz.
Should I start listening to gospel?
Like
Should I listen to gospel?
I think so. Yeah, there's a lot of introspection and different things you can think about, and I'm not going to get into religious beliefs on the radio.
Yeah, some people suggest Wendell, some people suggest I need a bit of a saving right here too. But I think I'm okay.
I think we all do. We need a bit of it. We need a whole lot of saving, all of us.
Yeah, we do.
Especially the way it goes right now. You can't even stop at a stoplight. Somebody blow the horn at you. You know, it's rough, man. It's rough out there right now.
We all got to chill, don't we? Why don't we all just chill, Wendell? Why can't we just chill?
We can. It's just we just need some help. We need some help chilling.
What do you got, Wendell?
I got like a whole bunch of stuff, but I'll start off with this. If you're an Indiana fan, for football, I don't care about those guys hating on us. I mean, we've been getting our tail beat for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't think there's no way that you can feel like you should be getting some respect right now. We definitely got to earn it, and just being straight up honest, we got to beat Ohio State. Let's go ahead and take care of Purdue. Beat our little brother. And then we have to beat Ohio State for anybody to give you any kind of respect. And then even then it's going to be like, well, they just got them once. I mean, it's just not going to happen right away. So we're going to have to beat some people convincingly. Now, to be honest with you, they've been, I think people, have now started being like, well, we want to beat these guys. So now they're the hunted. And so people play differently against them now, versus let's relax this weekend because we got IU. So right now I'm happy. I feel great about where they're at. We just got to stay mentally focused, take care of Purdue, and get in there and beat the mess out of Ohio State. That's what I got to say about Indiana. We just should be happy, period.
Okay.
Happy that they went on ahead and gave Skinetti the bag. He's getting paid. We're going to keep him away from Penn State and everybody else, you know what I'm saying? Virginia Tech, whoever. But I'm glad he's there. He's proven that he can, turn it around. So I'm happy with that. The other thing is with the Colts, I've been a fan since they were in Baltimore. I was like my favorite team moved to Indianapolis when that happened. So right now, to be honest, this next week, next few games here is going to really show what we about. I don't know if we have found, level where people are like, now, okay, well, these guys
I can buy that. Hey, Wendell, I absolutely buy that. Especially you get Kansas City, and then you go back to the division. You still have 2 with Houston, 2 with Jacksonville, but you have Houston at Jacksonville and at Seattle after that. There's a lot to be said about this telling the tale of the tape here. There's no doubt.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I hope we do it. I mean, I honestly, I'm not a believer that they're going to go through everybody. I think we're going to have the same kind of a season where we're like 11, maybe 12, possibly, because we're going to beat the people in our division. I think we will get Houston a couple times. I mean, but when you're not consistent, and you look great, then you look terrible. Okay, if you fall in the middle between those, that just makes you, normal. And then you can lose or win all those games. That makes them all 50-50.
I don't want any normalcy here. I want them to break out of normalcy for the positive. Hey, Wendell, you call anytime. It's good to have you on the show.
All right. Thanks, man.
Wendell, the thing about Curt Cignetti that I think is great. What is he, 62, 63? Class of 81, something like that, high school. I always kind of look back.
He is 64.
64. So he's like 9 years older than me, huh? It's impressive. That should show you that oftentimes age can be just a number. Because he has been thriving in the new era of college athletic landscape right here. Granted, he's a really good football coach, but he thrives in this new era where, simply put, others have struggled in this new era. I think that's awesome. By the way, James Franklin finalizing a deal to become the next head coach of Virginia Tech, according to that Thamel dude from ESPN. Casey writes this, that 2023 draft class is looking like another stain on the Kevin Pritchard and Chad Buchanan record. They've done some great things here, but it continues to be a struggle for them to find good rotational players through the draft. I don't care what anybody says. This has nothing to do with injuries. Walker and Shepard, you cannot look that bad. Ben Shepard is in the NBA to hit shots, especially when nobody guards him because they don't think he can hit shots. Hey, it's okay when everybody's making excuses and, oh, you're injured and the season's lost before it gets started and all this. To me, it'd be really easy to just go away. Oh, man, things are tough. I give credit to Siakam and to Nembhard because those guys go at it. They go at it hard. They're doing exactly what you would expect. Can anybody around them pull their weight? Anybody? Last I checked, you're in the NBA. You're getting a check. Yeah, you're not going home from Center Grove Middle School on a Sunday afternoon. Oh, I stunk. That's okay. No. Pull your weight. And pulling your weight is not getting de-pants by 30 every single night and having one win on the season. Skivvy says, you are what your record is, so do we see 5-5 Kansas City angry? Well, they're trying to save some stuff here. And they're trying to hang on for any shot, which is probably out within their own division. But you're thinking about the postseason, and you just had an elite level, one of the greatest of all time, own the disappointment of a loss yesterday, put the loss on his shoulders. Now, you tell me how that's going to be coming up on Sunday. Mike in Brooklyn is at 239-1070 up next. Hello, Mike.
Hey, JMV, what's up?
Hello, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got a hypothetical for you. Let's say Carly and Ballard called you into the office and said, we're going for the Lombardi Trophy and we're taking outside input from every other sources that we can. Any suggestions that you can give them? What would you tell them?
As to what? How to handle something?
It could be anything. Could be, philosophically or anything that you see that you could drop into the suggestion box for this team to go all the way.
This is one thing I would say is for the head coach, never, ever, ever. And sometimes it's tough when you're, passing eccentric and you've got, a War and Peace novel for your playbook. Sometimes you lose sight of who your best player is and who your best weapon is offensively, and that's Jonathan Taylor. I would always, solidify as much as possible that you don't go through long stretches trying to get the passing game going or because you close with the running game and forget about the running game. Does that make sense to you? That's kind of the first thing that occurs to me.
It makes plenty of sense to me because that's exactly the same approach that I've had all along. It's Shane Steichen is the Colts offense is phenomenal, and it's all the credit belongs to Steichen. But then again, a lot of the issues that they're having are all of his deficiencies as a head coach. To me, I look at it this way: if Shane Steichen was just the offensive coordinator, and we had a head coach like a Tony Dungy or a Jimmy Johnson or a Bill Parcells, this team is 100% championship ready. and it's kind of like a double-sided coin there. He's got to be more balanced. Definitely, he's got to be more balanced running the game in the running game. He's got to be more of a head coach as far as managing the game situationally. He's taking these games. You already feel like you're down 2 scores when you start the game. He's in desperation mode. He's in desperation mode before the game even starts. He's in desperation mode at the coin flip. It's like, we got to get the ball. We got to score. We got to score. You get the ball on your own side of the field, the 4th down, we got to go for it. From the Dan Campbell playbook last night, all you need to do is watch that game last night with Dan Campbell. Everybody loves him. He's aggressive. That was the stupidest. That's total coaching malpractice by Dan Campbell. You got to let the game play out. A game is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Run the don't.
Well, and
going for these
I would tell you this too. There's been so many references about Indiana Jones and Daniel Jones. Take a cue from Raiders of the Lost Ark and don't get caught up in a trap. And somebody that is as good as it gets in defensive coordination. That's what concerns me more than anything. Like everybody talks about, the reclamation of Patrick Mahomes and running roughshod offense at home and desperation mode on Sunday. But it is an opportunistic defense led by a guy that is really good at disguising what he's doing and having you fall into the trap. That concerns me more than anything offensively coming up on Sunday.
Yep, well, definitely. I'm just, the Colts, they control their own destiny. That's the way I'm looking at it for this last stretch here. They control their own destiny. But to me, the whole key is Steichen capable of being more of an old school coach? I mean, offensively, their rushing attack might be the best ever. The metrics on that, they're out producing in a lot of categories more than 2/3 of the teams in the league in the running game alone, better than other teams' passing attacks, which is ridiculous. This offensive running game is ridiculously good, and it's the second option. How good could it be if you just, focusing in on that? You don't abandon the running game. Establish the run and let the game play out. You don't have to keep going for it on 4th down every time. And that will open up the passing game. It'll take a lot of the pressure off of the offensive line and Daniel Jones, which we're going to be seeing that all the way down through the rest of the season into the playoffs and all the way into San Francisco. That you have to have a more balanced approach. And that's where, just look at these past 2 games. That's where all the issues have been stemming from, with the protections and everything. So that's the real key to me. Can Steichen, the last press conference I seen after the Falcons game, he said, I need to do a better job. But, we heard that from Frank Reich for 4 years. Are we going to actually see him do a better job and commit to the running game?
Well, and what you're saying, Mike in Brooklyn joining us, man. It's always good. Later on this week, we'll see where we are. Cool?
Yep, JMV. All right, have a good week.
That's a good point, and we normally hear that from coaches. I've got to be better. I've got to, do a better job. But those that separate themselves actually do it. Man, it's nothing against Shane Steichen, but I never want him to lose sight of the best player on the team. And I think if I'm going to remind them of anything, it's that. You like the whole Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's like going into that temple or cave, remember, and getting the idol, and all of a sudden everything starts happening. Steve Spagnuolo will do that to you. To me, and it's much like we've seen in the past 2 games, in general, it's been more of a trouble spot with the defense against the Colts offense, and I think that is certainly even more magnified with Kansas City coming up on Sunday, even if they have one of the greatest of all time under center, who is clearly coming off of a loss and ownership of that loss yesterday in Denver. Quick break, we'll come back. We've got Stephen Holder coming up at the top of the hour. Don't go anywhere. The stream the app. It's HD Radio and the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. Hello to everybody out there with 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. To this show, we've got live shows on the road Thursday and Friday, the free Varsity Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots on Thursday, the Free Spirit in Castleton. That's a fan favorite. Hey, shout out to the Upstairs Pub again. The Upstairs and Back Nine, the last Thursday and Friday, outstanding. I still am receiving feedback from everybody that joined us at the Upstairs down in Bloomington last Thursday. Well done on that. But the Free Spirit, that's on Thursday, and the District Tap Clearwater Crossing North Side coming up on Friday. I do, too. You've asked about Big Ten Championship game, pregame party passes with Bullseye. I have some to give away. And I know you're going to say, well, IU's not officially there yet. Understand that, but there's still going to be a party regardless. It could be me and James and you and your best friend playing in Lucas Oil Stadium. There's still going to be a party. I got those to give away coming up in just a little bit, so hang tight for those. Text line of 317-239-1070. What the hell is with Mike from Brooklyn? Before the season started, we were all talking about AR tanking so that we could draft a quarterback. Now we're 8-2 and in second place of the AFC, and we're nitpicking on the head coach. Here's, I think, the whole point. And I would happen to agree with the point that was being made. Just never lose sight of your best offensive weapon, being Jonathan Taylor. Never get swept up in a massive, all now open because of Daniel Jones playbook. And still understand who the dude is. To start. So I don't think that's and really, I will say this. You know how good it is to be able to nitpick? Look at recent history around here. I mean, we can't wait to get to a bye week because the season sucks so bad. And then you got to come back. So I think focusing in on that, how much better it is with that. That's just my thought. I'll get back to that coming up in just a minute. Hang tight. Stephen Holder coming up at the top of the hour, but on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, GBIWins.com. Michael Westwood is back once again on this Monday. Hello, Michael. How are you?
What's happening, JMV, in the place to be? Everything's good here. What's going on over there?
Well, coming off a bye week. Feeling pretty good about coming off a bye week around
coming
here?
Off a bye week, but you're going into the freaking the dungeon. Hopefully, listen, you got a big game coming up on Sunday.
Oh, I hate that toilet, by the way. I hate Arrowhead. I hate it.
Listen, KC got smacked last night, but the bottom line is, I mean, that team's definitely coming to play you guys like it's a Super Bowl. Would you agree with me on that?
One more time, Michael. What'd you say?
Yeah, breaking up a little bit. I'm saying that you guys have a big game coming up Sunday, correct?
An incredibly large game coming up Sunday,
right.
Yes.
All right, so listen, let's talk about what's going on tonight and why I'm on the radio
Sure.
once again. Okay, last week, Monday night, I documented it as my Monday night parlay of the year, and I sent it out to all of your listeners who called me at 1-800-885-2525. Again, that's 1-800-885-2525. They heard my recorded message line, and they got the winner. They got the Eagles, and they got the under 2-0, absolutely free, and I gave it out to everybody free. I'm going to do something a little bit similar tonight. I do have a two-team parlay going off this evening between the Cowboys and the Raiders, also the over-under. And if your listeners call my phone number right now, they're also going to receive it absolutely free at 1-800-885-2525. It's 1-800-885-2525. It's on my recorded hotline. Remember that. And why do I do this? Because I want the public to know how good I am, okay? I'm 8-2 this year in two-team parlays with information like this, and tonight will be absolutely no different. So if your listeners want to make money tonight, they will call 1-800-885-2525 and listen to my free hotline and go 2-0 absolutely free and on me.
Michael Westwood has a tremendous feel this evening. And I think we all benefit from that tremendous feel, Michael.
Well, you want to know something? I mean, people think it's all about throwing darts at a dartboard. It's really not like that. I've been in the business for 42 years. I know how to beat the bookmakers against the point spread on any given game day. And tonight's one of those nights. I normally don't even play Monday Night Football. Okay, last week I did because it was my parlay of the year. And this year I have this, tonight I have the same information. I was 9-2 this weekend, so normally on Monday night we sit back and relax, but we've got such tremendous information in this game tonight, the Cowboys playing the Raiders. I got to tell you something, it's going to be probably the most boring football game you've ever watched in your lifetime. Okay, those are two teams that can't get out of their own ways. I mean, the high school football team in my town could probably beat both of those teams. But the bottom line is, if you focus and listen to what I'm all about and allow me to teach you what I've been taught over the 42 years, and that's how to beat the bookmakers against the point spread, then you know what? You're going to make money tonight, and it's going to be free because it's on my free recorded hotline. Once again, all you have to do right now is dial 1-800-885-2525. Again, that's 1-800-885-2525. There's no sales pitches. There's no hype. It's just going to be the winner and the total on my free recorded hotline.
That is Michael Westwood again on this Monday, just in front of this final game in week number 11 on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline with us. Hey, Michael, pleasure once again, man. We shall see what happens. 800-885-2525 for you right here.
Let's do some winning, baby. Thank you. Have a great night.
You got it, Michael. Thank you very much. Michael Westwood once again. He's right about this game being boring. You know, it's not boring, I think, if you have something on it, I guess, which I'm assuming some of you are very interested in that. So give Michael a call if you want to get that advice right there. I get this. JMV, why should we be so hard on the Pacers knowing how many injuries they're dealing with? Because they're not just losing. They're getting embarrassed. They're not just losing. They're getting embarrassed. And I don't care who they have out there. You shouldn't look like that. At home against Toronto, you should look like that. 133-98 in Phoenix. They gave up 152 in Utah. I'm sorry. Injuries or not, there is no stinking excuse. And I'm not going to sit here and offer one. That is crap. And I feel pretty solid in saying it, considering Pascal Siakam, who's still going out there and playing his ass off, said something similar on Saturday night after the Toronto game. You don't just have to be a sad sack and put your arms up and go, Hey, believe me, we've dealt with injuries, massive injuries, nothing like this ever. But massive injuries around here forever. But there's still a level of expectation. There should be a line, a goal of expectations to reach. And as they say, that ain't it at all. That's garbage. I can't sit here and just be, and there's nothing stirring it up. And there's no outrageous original thoughts. I'll be honest with you right now, as much as you guys are down on Walker and Shepard, for example, to me, you want to prove that, once everything gets right and Halliburton's back and everything is right with the world, these guys shouldn't be a part of it, should they? I mean, which guys do you want to see back when it's all good and everybody's healthy again? I mean, are you not also playing for that? I don't need to see these guys if that's how it's going to be. There's no stirring it up here. There's just a common theme of being truthful about it. I know they're playing with a G League team. You're giving up 152 and 133. And again, Kevin, all you have to do is read the comments of Pascal Siakam. You don't think we can have the similar mentality as the best player on the team? I would suggest, yeah. Even with Yeah, listen, I don't think anybody thought that Jarris Walker and Ben Shepard were G League players until now either. It's been garbage. All right, quick break. We shall return. Michael Westwood right there. Stephen Holder coming up at the top of the hour. Got a lot more for you, too. Later on this week, I mentioned 2 road shows Thursday and Friday, and a busy week for you. But Purdue solidifies again at number 1 with good reason. This is funny, the reaction with that. Now, IU and Purdue getting ready for the bucket the weekend after this and going in completely stratospherically different directions. Pacers Detroit coming up later on tonight. Juju Brent's done for the season down in Miami, too, having foot surgery. An all too familiar trend, unfortunately, for the former Warren Central and Indianapolis Colts defensive back. Quick break. We shall return. Don't go anywhere. Stream the app. It's the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
You guys want those passes? I don't blame you. I'm not being mean about the Pacers, and I understand the situation, but my God, I think I can sit here and deserve a little bit more than what we've witnessed so far, even in losing, right? 1-5-2, 1-3-3. And it's not like we're talking about an incredible pace on both ends where the Pacers are putting up 150 or 130. They're being embarrassed. I think it's okay to expect a little bit more, even in an incredibly lost season that is rotten with injuries. They have played rotten. Yeah, I know. We talked to Kristen Airy a little bit earlier. The Toilet went through that 2 years ago, losers of 28 straight. And they're on the other end of it. They're 11-2 so far this season. Of all the years for DirecTV, and I guess I get it for free now. I still get the NBA package absolutely for no charge now. So does that mean I'm going to get it the entire year? Surely to goodness this crew won't pull the rug out from under me at some point, will they? It just stinks I'm watching everybody else's team out there right now. Pacers Pistons tonight, 7 o'clock. That means we got to go a little extra time. After 6 o'clock because of that. Now, there's no Colts happy hour tonight. No, check that. Colts Roundtable. Windshield spreadability. You guys have that? You ready to snack tonight? Yeah, you're going to need it for real. Yeah, your Monday Nighter features the Cowboys and the Raiders. Yeah, I guess at least you're in Vegas, right? 3-5-1 and 2-7. A super suck of a Monday night game. However, the Win Schuler spreadability makes it better. High-level snacking for you when Schuler's. Find it. Your favorite Meijer location, Gordon's Food Service, Neiman's Harvest Market. Win Schuler's spreadability. Man, I cannot stand Arrowhead. I know. The history of Arrowhead, great place, smells like barbecue. Oh, man, what a great environment. I think Joe Wrights was talking about that this morning on the morning show. I think it sucks. I think it sucks large, too. I hated every second I was there.
Isn't it just in the middle of a big parking lot?
Yeah. The most fun I had on that trip was me, Drew Storn, and Tucker Barnhart pushing a bus that was stuck on the ice on an off-ramp out of the way so our bus could get around it and get to Arrowhead. Yeah, I know. I got hit with ice balls, too. I didn't even have Colts gear on.
What year was this?
My feet were cold. I got hit with ice balls. It's when they lost in the playoffs.
Ah, gotcha.
Sucked. Had a great trip. I believe a snowstorm came in, and we had 2 flights leaving. I think only one ended up taking off. And I thought at the time, I wish I was on the one that didn't take off. Because I was supposed to be a part of the pregame show, and I couldn't even be a part of the pregame show. Yeah, my problem, right? Thoroughly my problem. But I had zero fun doing that. And you guys, the Bullseye Party pre-Big Ten is going to be incredible. And I'm going to be there with you. I'll have more for you as well. I'm going to report back to Kyle Kinnett and tell him how well this is going right now. But I'm going to be there with you. I've got one more JMV takeover, hopefully with phones. That'd be great coming up on Saturday. James, I was this close. To just putting it into autopilot and going home at like 8:30. But I didn't. I hung with it. Part of the fun was, like I mentioned this a little bit earlier, doing radio like this, and especially when you have people around you that allow you to be yourself and not box you up and have to do what one person or one group believes that's right. I mean, people trust me to do what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fun. because I got great requests and I utilized social media. But I also played, you think I normally get wild with requests on a Saturday? Last Saturday in the 90s, it was nuts. But a good nuts. Without calls for 3.5 hours. Got the final one coming up on Saturday night, and then we'll go to the Christmas music hiatus for a month and come back on New Year's Eve, which is twofold for me because I get to party with you on New Year's Eve, or really party with everybody, and then I don't actually have to go anywhere. It's beautiful. Now, that is coming up. JMV, I can't believe how you're talking about Arrowhead. It is an incredible place. Yeah, it sucks. I hate it every second. I got to get Soren Petro on the show tomorrow. He's a friend of mine, host, WHB in Kansas City. Longtime friend. Yeah, we'll talk about the desperation fact with the Chiefs now this season. Losing last night, knowing where they are right now in terms of their own division and certainly in the overall picture in the AFC. 5-5, and the most competitive division in the NFL. And the only team that's worse right now in that division, the AFC West, is the team we're going to be subject to watching later on tonight, the Raiders. And then you had a quarterback, elite level, one of the greatest of all time, is owning the loss yesterday. So you know what, you're going to have a squad that's going to bring it in desperation at 5-5. We'll talk about that and more. Stephen Holder's going to join us coming up at the top of the hour. Your calls after 5 as well. A little bit more time after 6 before Pacer pregame for you too. Don't go anywhere. Hour number 3, dead ahead. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Psalms talk about John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, I just whipped your ass.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
Hey, welcome back. Time for your calls coming up in just a bit at 239-1070. Well, yak at you. Go a little bit after 6 o'clock tonight, leading up to the Pacer pregame show with the Pacers in Detroit this evening against the Pistons. Winners have won this season, and we'll follow the Benedict Mathurin stuff. Check that out, James, and see if we have any thought on his availability coming up later on tonight. That'd be great. Be great. And then some guys play better than taking a 30-point beating. That would also be great. Meantime, in the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, time is of the essence with our good friend Stephen Holder of ESPN and ESPN.com joining us right now. In this world, it probably really doesn't matter, but do you think it magnified the game coming up on Sunday with the noted desperation that the 5-5 Chiefs are going to have, and also considering their elite-level future snap Hall of Fame quarterback really took ownership of it all after that loss in Denver yesterday?
Look, I will say this. When their back is to the wall, that team tends to respond. So if you are the Colts, you have to assume you are getting an absolute haymaker from this team on Sunday. And you got to be ready to respond. I don't think there's any question about it. Now, whether they have enough to overcome their current situation remains to be seen, okay? They just might not be that good. Okay, I think that's what we're seeing. But I am not foolish enough to sit here and pretend that the team that's been in the big game the last 3 years is a lesser version, okay? Because I thought that last year about this time, okay? We quickly forget. There were questions about whether the Chiefs had lost it around this time last year. Now, granted, their record was better than 5-5, but there were doubts and there were questions and whispers and some not so soft whispers, right, about whether they had enough to get it done. And then they ended up in the Super Bowl, okay? So if that's the mistake you want to make, go right ahead, but I'm not going to do that, at least not me personally.
Where's your and obviously you always point at the quarterback, but I would suggest if you want to have more concern, especially considering the last two games for the Colts, you get a defensive coordinator and a defense that can do some things. I'm going to start right there with KC, their matchup in desperation mode defensively against the Colts offense that hopefully over the bye week and now leading up to this game in Arrowhead on Sunday, figure out some things as far as protection and ball security from the quarterback.
Yeah, I think that is the biggest question facing this team going forward. There's no question about it because you're going to face some aggressive defenses. Look, don't overlook Houston and the defense that they play. Kansas City is not to be screwed around with defensively. They come up with some surprises. They try to get the ball away from you. I think Jacksonville started the season as the team that was turning teams over the most in football. So that's what's ahead, okay? And the Colts' single biggest problem right now is giving the ball away. I mean, they have, I think it's really protection and giving the ball away. It's a combination of those two things, and they are interrelated. I believe that Daniel Jones, I don't have the number in front of me. I think he's been sacked maybe 20 times or something like that. And I believe 12 of those have come in the past 2 games. I mean, what is that, right? I mean, that is not a sustainable pace. You do that, and you give up that much pressure on the quarterback, and the ball is coming out at some point, okay? Now, he's got to do a better job and be more aware and all those things, but I don't put this really on Daniel Jones. I mean, at the end of the day, they're getting the ball out because he's getting clobbered. Now, he's got a couple of interceptions in there that he has to clean up. I give him some leeway on that because he has been incredibly accurate most of the season, and I think those interceptions coming in combination with the pressure he's been facing, there's probably a relationship there, right? So I'm going to give him a little bit of grace on that and assume that there is some relationship between those things. But I think the offensive line, I can't explain it, and you can't excuse it more than anything. You can't excuse it. They got to pull it together, and that group has played great before this. I got to give them the benefit of the doubt, but this will tell us a lot this week.
So the protection, not so much, but on the run, I mean, Jonathan Taylor has certainly been extra special, whether he's doing it on his own or with the help from his offensive line. Why has there been, certainly against Atlanta, such a discrepancy there, a difference between the results we have seen on the run and the results we have seen with the pressure on the quarterback in that game in Atlanta? Because I know Taylor only had 45 yards in Pittsburgh, so it all kind of came together there as it not working. But certainly there was a big difference in that game in Berlin.
That is true. I think that in Pittsburgh, I think he got every yard that was out there for him. I mean, there just was nowhere to run. Excuse me. Against Atlanta, you're right. I mean, there was a huge disparity in their run blocking and pass blocking. Now, granted, they threw for a ton of yards in that game. Let's be clear. Did they exceed 500 yards? That game feels like it was like 4 weeks ago. I don't know why, but I can't remember anything, even though I was there. But they had, I'm pretty sure, close to a season high in yardage in that game. So they threw for a lot of yards, but it was just, I think what I'd say is that it was hard to come by. And as you pointed out, I think correctly, the protection was sloppy and was not reliable. I don't know the answer to that question, why they were so good in one area and so poor in another. Part of it is I think they wore them down against the run, I would say. That definitely tends to be the case with Jonathan Taylor. I mean, if you look at his second half production, it's pretty astounding. And I thought that was the greatest example of it yet. So there is a little bit of a wrecking ball nature with Jonathan Taylor, meaning over time it takes its toll. And that looked like a tired defense. 7, I think, offensive plays in overtime, 6 of them Jonathan Taylor runs, and they showed no ability to stop any of them, right? So that was a beaten down defense, I think, at the end. But when they had some fire going earlier on, they were getting after Daniel Jones, and that just can't happen. That ain't sustainable, given who they're going to play down the stretch.
That is Stephen Holder of ESPN and ESPN.com. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. The Colts back at it coming up on Sunday in Kansas City. The Chiefs 5-5 coming off a loss yesterday in Denver. So are we going to see for the first time what has been highly anticipated, a healthy secondary with Ward back and Gardner there and Cross and Bynum and Kenny Moore? Do you think we will witness that for the first time together?
So reading between the lines, I think the odds are decent of seeing that, yes. The update we got today on the record was that we would get an update on Wednesday on Mooney Ward. And so and just a couple of things reading between the lines, I'll just leave it at that. I feel like there's a good shot that we will see him. I've seen him the last couple of weeks, by the way, running around and being very active, during practice, not participating because he can't, he's on IR, but he's been out there, he's been doing a lot of physical activity and getting himself ready to go. So I don't think this is a situation where, a guy has an injury like a foot injury or something, or lower body injury and can't do a lot and then has to kind of, work his way back. He might be able to just roll out there and do it, and I don't know if that's truly the case, but I think there is a good chance of that just based on what I've seen from him. This won't be a situation where, again, it wasn't a physical injury in the traditional sense. This was a head injury of the concussion, and really the combination of back-to-back concussions. I think this was done out of an abundance of caution, which I applaud the Colts for. But what I also am saying is that I think he's probably mostly fine right now. That's a little bit of me taking a leap, but I'm just going by what I see.
Stephen Holder with us. I should have James have racked Van Halen's Panama here for this next question, but Panama, DeForest Buckner, you and I both were discussing last week just how concerned we are even well past a potential December 14th return for DeForest Buckner with this next situation. Are you even more solidified in that feeling a week later?
Of concern, you say?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's what I would say. Concern that while he's out, it is problematic. Now, what I would say, what I would add, I guess, is that Shane Steichen is pretty adamant. Take it for what it's worth, but Shane Steichen has been pretty adamant that the plan is that he is coming back, and he being DeForest Buckner. And I think what we know about Buckner is that if there's a glimmer of hope in his mind, he's going to be out there. He's a tough SOB, as everybody knows. That guy will play until he can't play anymore, in a given game. So if he's got any shot to be out there, he's going to do his best to be out there. I have zero doubt about that. And you mentioned Panama. I assume you mentioned it earlier in the show. He went down and got some treatment. We'll leave it at that, of some kind. And I think his second time, by the way, doing this. If you recall, last year he had, what was that? I think a pretty nasty high ankle sprain. And he went down to Panama, and he talked to me about this. He went down and got stem cell treatment down there. And I presume he went to the same clinic that he went to then. I can only assume. And that he thinks that had very positive results. I don't know anything about it. I don't understand it. And it's not my job to understand it, frankly. But all I can tell you is that he was adamant that it worked and that the results quickened his recovery. And so maybe he'll have similar success this time. We'll see.
Yeah, is that platelet-rich plasma, PRP treatment? Stem cell? Is that what that is?
I don't know.
Is it kind of like what they do with my hair?
I think
is that what they do with my hair? Because I'd go to Panama
I
too.
That years ago. It's a little late for me.
Hey, I've told people
it's about 10 years too late.
I admire it. I'm not shy about this because I want to have all new parts by the time I'm 60. And if it helps in that category, I'm all for it. If I have to go to Panama or not, whatever.
Listen, you only get one shot at life, right? You might as well make the most of it.
There's very little doubt. I know you got to run here in just a second.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, injury-wise, getting set for Kansas City. Anything else? What are some of the interesting storylines we'll address as we get to the week leading up to this game on Sunday?
Well, I mean, I just think I'm really interested in just seeing Sauce Gardner just continue to find his way. They didn't waste any time in that first game that he played, and I thought this might be the case, and it was. And what I mean is, they said, all right, you got Drake London, go get him. And I think he held his own. Drake London is an excellent player. Okay, so that was a tough assignment given the week that Sauce Gardner had. Okay, as he said, he barely slept. He was cramming, trying to get the scheme down. And as he said today, which I think is a fair point, Sauce, he said this today to the group. He said, I actually feel like I did pretty well and didn't screw up a lot, given the fact that I was still learning the defense. I mean, he had like 3 days to learn it. And there weren't any really blown coverages.
No,
or anything
I thought
like that.
Instinctually he was good, but when he had to stop and think about it, then that's where maybe he got burned. That's what I felt. So.
Yeah, and that's because that's hard, right?
Yeah.
But I think he was probably not playing at full speed in some of those instances. But the point I'm making is after 2 weeks and a bye, I think you're going to see a better version of him. I think that just stands to reason. So, look, I mean, is he going to be 2022 Sauce Gardner? I don't know. No one knows, right? But I think we'll get a more accurate depiction of what he is, I think, in this game and moving forward as he really settles in. He was not settled in that first game, even though, as I said, I thought he played fine, but I think he's only going to get better.
I'm right there with you on that desperation at 5-5 in a division that's the most competitive in the NFL, even with the way the Chargers took a beating. I don't know what that means yesterday, because both the Chargers and Jacksonville, like 1 week it looks great, and then the next week is a disaster. It's just kind of on and off. They're really the same. So
I mean, that's half the NFL this year.
It is.
And that's why I feel like, look, I don't care about style points. I'm not saying that like you can't make judgments about a team based on how they play. Of course, we do that every day. But ultimately, I mean, there's no better example that it doesn't mean a damn thing how it looks. When you look at the Kansas City Chiefs sitting at 5-5, you don't think they would take a couple 1-point wins right now? Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just get there, man. And that's why what the Colts have done, people can talk about who they've beaten. Go ahead. They got 8 wins, buddy.
Yep.
They got 8 wins. Mic drop. It doesn't matter. So, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, this is going to be a big test for the rest of the NFL and what the Colts do in Kansas City. I mean, this is the beginning of now the huge test period. Stephen Holder of ESPN on ESPN.com is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I know you have to bail, man. Thanks for hopping on here as always.
All right, you got it. Talk soon.
Stephen Holder of ESPN on ESPN.com. So, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about this and then the games certainly shortly thereafter? Houston, Jacksonville, Seattle. Month of December, which includes San Francisco. Is this the ultimate test? I will say that they have positioned themselves as best as anyone could have asked for. And you say, well, I mean, they could be unbeaten. Right. Maybe had they not given that game away in L.A., I still one score in Pittsburgh, and it never really felt like they had much of a chance. They had 6 stinking turnovers. But this is the believability factor that will prevail. Not that that matters either, but in a world of conversation in which we live right here, that is going to be a point. We got time for your calls at 239-1070. The text line is open at 317-239-1070. Yes, I will give away more bullseye passes at some point, too, because clearly you guys want to go. That thing's as popular as we took number 30. We could have taken number 90 on that. That's popular. Let's get back to Ike at 239-1070. Hello, Ike.
Good evening, JMV.
Good evening to you, Ike.
Yeah, I've been hearing you talk about the Pacers tonight.
I'm a little pissy. I'm a little pissy, Ike. I can't lie.
I've been a Pacer fan since the day one tryouts in the Coliseum. I go back that far, and there's one thing I want to let you know, JMV.
Yes.
I take it from Jermaine Jackson when he said, "Don't take it personal. Take the bitter with the sweet. Easy come, easy go."
Dang, Jermaine Jackson reference on this show. Well done out of Ike.
That's the way you have to look at it, because when you're a fan of pro sports, it can be that way sometimes. And all I got to say about all these players that are getting playing time right now, and y'all wind up back in the G League next year.
Yeah.
Don't be looking around wondering what happened.
You bring up a great point. I mean, what have we found out about what is like necessary personnel that we've seen this year for this group? When things get real again, I mean, you don't see a lot of it right now, do you?
You got a chance to go out there without nobody looking over your shoulder. If you can ball, let's see it.
True story. Like I look at Walker and Shepard. I mean, are they essential personnel any longer?
I'm just wondering. They need to show a little bit more than what they've been showing.
Yeah, nothing. Again, and am I surprised they're losing? But to lose at this level, I mean, there's nothing good about that. So I completely agree with you. I mean, if you're playing to be a part of this next year, this whole reclamation project that everybody expects is going to turn back on a dime again, I mean, you tell me out of this group who's going to be essential personnel or who's proven that so far. Not many. What else you got, Ike?
Hey, I just wanted to say the Colts, You know, they got their season cut out for them right now. What's ahead of them? You know, they got to prove the point now because, I mean, you know, ain't nobody going to feel sorry for us. We're sitting right where we need to be.
Nobody's feeling sorry for him, Mike. Thank you, Ike, for the call.
Take care of business.
And thank you for the Jermaine Jackson reference right there. Actually, to double back, James rolled us into last hour. Frankie Goes to Hollywood in Two Tribes. J-Law says you need James to check out Body Double. That's Melanie Griffith and Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Relaxes on the soundtrack. That's very true. Very sexual group, Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Man, I watched Body Double because I thought it was going to be like you gravitate. This is like, what, 1984? And I still do. But certainly back then I gravitate to, hey, is there a lot of nudity in this film? And I always heard that and like, I don't know, maybe I didn't hang with it. Just a thought. Phil wants to know if James has ever seen Raiders of the Lost Ark with my comparison right there, the Steve Spagnuolo and his defense.
I have. That's a great movie.
It is like, I love a film that just comes out and goes, boom. I mean, Harrison Ford and I forget what his partner's name was that tried to screw him over, going in and getting the idol in that cave in South America. I mean, it just came right out. That's what, to me, my reference was to Steve Spagnuolo and what he's going to try to do with the Colts offense.
The German guy or the guy that got nailed to the wall with the spikes? No, that's the guy that got nailed to the wall with the spikes, yeah. No, and the German guy was the French guy. Or French or whatever it is.
Yeah, he was
European.
He was French. Belloc.
That's what it was,
Belloc.
yes.
Belloc. Idiot! You idiot! There are very few chase scenes of all time that are better than the desert chase scene.
Yeah.
When they've got the ark in the back of the Nazi vehicle, and that's awesome stuff. And Indiana Jones is on the horse.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff.
That's the chase where he ends up on front of the truck too, isn't it?
I think and then kind of gets boring. It goes immediately to that, and you dial it down with the whole ship scene and stuff, and then you go to the island. That's Raiders of the Lost Ark. I don't like Temple of Doom nor The Last Crusade or whatever the hell was after that anywhere near the original.
Yeah, they honestly could have just left it as later Raiders of the Lost Ark and done none of the other ones, and I would have been fine with it.
Hey, JMV, on this bye day yesterday, when the Colts weren't playing, I happened to check around on DirecTV on the movie channels, and I thought there were a lot of JMV classics, and you were right, there were. Like Raiders of the Lost Ark, that was on yesterday. 48 Hours, Eddie Murphy, Nick Nolte. Oh, that's great stuff right there. I think Swingers was on yesterday. Here's one, and I know a lot of you may not know too much about it, and it's not that big of a deal, but I love watching American Made from 2017. Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise as the pilot.
Where he's Barry Seal.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one, actually.
Because I remember vividly in the 1980s the story of Barry Seal. And while this is not biographical by any stretch, I mean, it's made for film. It is. I think it's entertaining as hell.
Yeah, it's not a one-to-one documentary of his life. Gotcha.
No, Barry Seal was like, he weighed like 350 pounds, I think. There was no Tom Cruise. Like, remember when he was trying to take off and they had that big fat guy in there? They wanted to send him to watch the load of cocaine they had. Yeah, that was Barry Seal.
That was Barry
Seal. It's probably Barry Seal. Had he not been off in 1986, going to the halfway house. Yeah. Yeah. American Made was on yesterday. I love that film. And who's the chick in it? And I think she's really attractive. She's from Louisville. Something Wright. Her last name is Wright. And there's indeed
Sarah Wright Olsen.
Sarah Wright Olsen. She's the real deal Holyfield. Right there. Quick one will come back. I don't know. Do we have anything to give away today?
We do not know.
Jack squat. Except we've been giving away bullseye. I may come at you with those for the Big Ten Championship pregame party coming up again in just a bit. So sit tight. Stream the app HD Radio, AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live, and your calls on the other side at 239-1070. It's 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
Talk to him, damn it. 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Spurs star Victor Wembanyama, left calf strain. I had a right calf strain back in the summer. Yeah, very much the same. Sidelined expectation for, quote, a few weeks, according to Shams of ESPN. Panama shout out right there for DeForest Buckner. I'm doing the same thing. An American made, I believe. That's where Barry Seal flew into Panama. With Noriega back then. God, I love that movie. I don't know why. I just love it. Not completely accurate, but I've never understood this. You have to be a pretty big jackass. I mean, even and I know that if you've ever ridden on a roller coaster and you're like 12, you've probably done the same thing. You know what I'm talking about here, James?
What's up?
I think we kind of, when I hate to say this because I was 12 though, right? So we get a bus ride to Kings Island and we're all on the Cobra, the stand-up roller coaster, the Cobra, and everybody's trying to spit behind them on people behind you. Not just random people, but like my friends.
See, no, I never did that.
But the problem was when you did that on a roller coaster, if you tried to spit, it would just get all over you. You wouldn't get it just down your face. I've never understood the spitting on other people as either a form of offense or a shot of retaliation. What is this? Why is this a thing? It's like spitting and then nut kicking or hitting in the sack. I don't get that. Why?
You're asking the wrong person.
Why
I don't
in
think
the
I've
world
ever...
would you feel compelled? I'm mad at you. I'm going to spit on you. I'm mad at you. I'm going to hit you in the sack. Why?
I mean, I have seen in like The Sopranos when they get angry at each other, they'll kind of do that, pooh, like on the ground type thing, disrespectful towards them. But
the spitting and the sack hitting or kicking, I don't get. All right, so if you're in Roadhouse and you're in a fight and, maybe Wade Garrett punches you in the sack if you come at him like that. But just, hey, I don't get it. Jamar Chase, the reason why I bring this up, suspended 1 game without pay for spitting on Steelers defensive back Jalen Ramsey. Chase will appeal. And listen, Jalen Ramsey, I think, is kind of known as a bit of a jackass himself.
Mm-hmm. What I don't get is Chase was trying to deny that he did the spitting. I mean, there's video evidence of him doing it.
Do you just do that?
Pretty much.
What compels you? Spitting or sack hitting? I don't get it.
I can't imagine there's too much thought process going into it. I'd imagine it's just a very instinctual, in-the-moment type thing.
I would question your instincts if that's
fair.
The first thing that comes to mind. I'll spit on you or hit you on the nuts. That is the new word of the day, and really the new word of the show. Jacktastic. No, jackastic.
That's what it was.
Jackastic. I think Astastic has already been invented. Thank you, guys. That's Jamar Chase. He will appeal. Bill is at 239-1070. Hello, Billy.
JMV, how are you doing today?
Trying to figure out the world that we live in where either retaliation or being on the offense is spitting on somebody or kicking somebody in the sack. I don't get it.
Well, I call it the Grayson Allenization of the younger athlete.
They called it. I believe Bob Siegel of Channel 13 did a 2-part investigative report once upon a time on ball tapping in schools. You remember that? And
I do not.
You can said, why do they do this in schools? Well, I mean, because for whatever reason back then, we all kind of went around and I never understood why people wanted to tag each other in the sack, but he did a 2-part investigative report back in the day on Channel 13 on ball tapping. Very, very insightful.
There's one for the archives, man.
Yeah, pull that up. Put that on the resume right there, would you?
Exactly. Hey, I just wanted to say one thing about the Oakland Bucket game coming up this Friday night. It's going to be a Friday night game up in West Lafayette. I don't know if the Purdue coach is going to last. If he doesn't beat IU at home on a Friday, he's got a fairly dismal record, and Purdue has had a tendency, as I recall, and everything, not to tolerate coaches that lose. Jim Young was a great example of that. I mean, Jim Young was a great Purdue coach, couldn't beat Lee Corso. I mean, IU was I think for about 3 years during the Corso era, dominated Purdue during the Open Bucket, and he was gone. So I hope that doesn't happen. But the IU juggernaut continues to roll. And I just wanted to mention one thing historically, from a historical perspective. On this day in 1968, the New York Jets were playing the Oakland Raiders out in Oakland, broadcast by NBC, and then it was the Heidi game. It was the game where the NBC executive
where they went away from the game.
When they went away, they didn't show the end of the game, and Oakland made it like a tremendous comeback, and everything ended up winning, and it was all for Heidi. And that was probably the last time I think. I'm sure the NBC executive got fired, but you don't see any. You wouldn't see that in this day and age. I mean, that was 1968. There wasn't even a merger yet. But I just always thought that was kind of interesting that some executive thought that America would benefit more by watching the story of an orphan girl being, living in a mountain shack with a single man. Now it absolutely befuddles me.
I did want to ask you this in closing. I'm assuming you're on board with the Heisman Doza campaign that IU started earlier today, right?
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
Heisman Doza. I don't know who came up with that, but that's pretty good.
It's pretty good, and he's I don't know how it's going to end up and everything, but he's going to have some good numbers or superior numbers and everything by the end of the season. And I get the feeling that somewhere down the road, IU is going to have to play Texas A&M, and Texas A&M bothers me. They worry me a little bit.
Anybody that's going to be involved in this is going to be, a problem. To each their own here. But I thought Texas A&M, they barely wiggled out of a situation against South Carolina, so they're pretty fortunate in their own right, I think, last weekend. Billy, I'll see you a couple of times later on this week, right on?
Yeah, again, that's going to be District Tap and Free Spirit.
Free Spirit Thursday, District Tap, North Side Friday, my brother.
Book it, Dano.
Can't wait to see you. JMV, have you seen the exploits, speaking of IU football, of Curt Cignotti? Help me out here. Who's Curt Cignotti? I have not. Curt Cignotti. Thank you for that question, but I have not. I'm assuming it's somebody that's playing off of Curt Cignetti.
Like not Curt Cignetti, Curt Cignotti. I'm assuming it's a fan or
somebody
something.
has it written, it's CurtCignotti. Curt Cignotti. I just looked it up, and he's from Washington, Indiana.
Yeah, it's a Twitter or X account, I should say. Yeah.
Oh, God. I just looked it up.
He kind of looks like him.
I'm looking at it right now. Somebody has sent me that he blocked him, and I just have the block. I don't have the whole thing. So he's going for the lookalike approach right here?
It looks like he's an IU fan who's dressing up like him.
Curt Cignotti. Thanks for the update right there. More of you guys on the other side. Jonathan can lead. We'll do that coming up next, and a little bit of time coming up after 6 o'clock as we get you to the Pacer pregame show. That means Pat Boylan's going to be in studio. Well, Pat Boylan's going to be here in just a little bit, too. All right, Gritty. I believe Gritty just got me, and she is the IU information person. Gritty says this is Kurt Signotti, an impersonator that was trying to get money for appearances. The fans are not happy with him. So Kurt Signotti is charging to be not Kurt Signetti.
Apparently. That's way less cool. Now that's way less fun.
So is he an impersonator or an imposter? It depends on how you feel.
I think it depends on how much he's charging.
How much does he charge, Gritty? Do you know? An impersonator or an imposter? Kurt Signotti. Way to go, Davies County. Evidently, he's from Washington, Indiana. Kurt Signotti. Grit, if you can find out how much Signotti charges, I'm just curious. Your calls, Jonathan's going to lead on the other side. 93.5, 107 by The Fan.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Win Schuler's spreadability for you. Original sharp cheddar, bacon, and cheddar. Jalapeno pepper is a fan favorite. I have seen it. They have a lot of it. In fact, all varieties. Neiman's Harvest Market in Carmel. What is that? Keystone Way, Neiman's Harvest Market. They have some good-looking meat up there, too. Get you some Win Schuler's and some good-looking meat. Meyer locations in the state of Indiana with Win Schuler's. Shout out to Bob, the president of Win Schuler's, also has sent me a package of all varieties of Win Schuler's. Thank you, Bob. Win Schuler's spreadability also available at Gordon's Food Service. That's Win Schuler's. Gritty says apparently Signotti has backed off charging after he got roasted on X. Signotti. That's great. What's the quote from James? Quote, I can't imagine there's too much thought process that goes into it. Talking about spitting. Great analysis, James. Well done. It's outstanding. 239. Oh, I'll tell you what. Jonathan, I'll get to you. We got time coming up on the other side. Somebody had asked me this because you know that I'm a big fan of watches. Have you seen the new line of Swatch? Remember Swatch watches were popular in the 80s? Swatch Neon. That is some bright stuff right there. Now, are these dudes or chicks? Or both? The Swatch Neon.
I don't even think I've ever heard.
I'm not shocked.
Because I'm not really a watch guy, so.
I like these Swatch watches. New Swatch Neon. Thank you for asking. And they're for everybody.
Am I bad in thinking that these look like something you'd get out of a Happy Meal at McDonald's?
Yes. Now, do they still, with these Swatch, remember back in the day you'd have a Swatch and you'd put that little rubber kind of thing across it so it wouldn't scratch the glass. They still have those? I'm asking James, who has absolutely zero clue what I'm talking about.
I may not have ever even worn a watch in my entire life.
Why not? I didn't either.
I use my phone.
Understandable. All right, Jonathan leads on the other side. Anybody else at 239-1070? We're going to describe this as anything goes?
We can.
All right. Swatch watches, the category, anything goes at 239-1070. The text line at 317-239-1070 as well. Anything goes? Coming up next, 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
The cream, yeah. The cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Some anything goes right here. Let's go ahead and tee it up at 239-1070, or maybe you're a little bit shy and you want to utilize the text line. That's quite all right. 317-239-1070 for that. Pacers pregame with Pat Boylan, bottom of the hour. The Pacers on a pace, no pun intended, to finish the season 7-75. Did you know that the Pacers' worst record of all time is 20-62? Will they keep up this 7-75 pace? Well, they're playing with G League players. Yeah, okay. 7-75. You give up 152, 133. Come on. Pacers and Pistons coming up later on tonight. JMV, I think you should. That Swatch Watch new neon line looks like something from the 1980s. You should do it. Thank you. Swatch Guard, by the way, is what it was called. The Swatch Guard. It protected the watch face. Everybody had them. Actually, some had more than one. You wear more than one back in the day. Gordo says Arrowhead is the Wrigley Field of the NFL. I didn't think Wrigley Field was as much as a toilet as Arrowhead. I hate Arrowhead. Man. JMV, Butler, very disappointing loss. Very worried about the bigs. 4 rebounds combined, giving up 62 points in the paint. Yes, losing to SMU. 62 paint points. Now, some things to work on to Stad. All right, 239-1070. We got anything goes time right now. And whatever you want to hit, you can do that. Jonathan's going to lead here after 6 o'clock. Hello, Jonathan. How are you?
Hey, great. Thank you. How are you, JMV?
Great, Jonathan.
I'm glad you think that Arrowhead is a dump, actually, because my daughter's a Swiftie, and there's no way she would set foot in a dump unless she really loved her guy. So I guess they're going to be together forever. I don't want to have to deal with my daughter's drama if they get divorced, after all. And she's probably going to buy the stadium and the team, by the way.
Gotcha.
I would think eventually.
Understand.
But yeah, I think we have a good kind of even chance they're going to be favored. I was just thinking this week because the game last night, their pass rush looks pretty consistent, and ours is obviously very inconsistent.
Sure.
If we lose, I think that would probably be the difference in the game. But we are the only team that Mahomes hasn't beaten in a regular season game, so that's motivation for him, but that's something to really hang your head on and be proud of if we beat them again. So I'm looking forward to it. I think we'll win. It just won't be in the usual Colts way.
This will be like,
year.
Jonathan, this will be like an official announcing your presence situation, is it not? Sunday, if you win there, because, you're going to be doing what? You're going to be, hey, here we are, we're legit, and prove that to those outside this market that simply put, haven't been paying attention. And the other thing you're going to be doing is you're going to be stomping out, to a degree, the Chiefs. So, you can do a lot of things to announce your presence coming up on Sunday in Kansas City with a win. Many.
Yeah, I don't want to rag too much on our defensive line. I'm just hoping the offensive line can look better, finally step up. That's pretty important with Chris Jones coming right up the middle and stuff.
I agree with that.
But are they too legit to quit is the question.
Shout out to Hammer right there with that reference.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed, but I liked Hammer. I have to admit it.
What was your did you like Too Legit to Quit? Did you like Pray? Did you like Pumps in a Bump?
Pray.
Or did you like Turn This Mother Out?
Too Legit to Quit. It was kind of like the equivalent of Party Up by DMX. It's just a great workout. Great energy. I thought it was an awesome song back then.
I
love Neon Pants. That was my favorite about Hammer.
Jonathan, I faded with Hammer because Too Legit to Quit. I mean, it did kind of as a song, I think, wear you out a little bit. But I turned this mother out in the late 80s. I kind of got down with that. I believe that's from Please Don't Hurt 'Em, Hammer, back then.
Yeah.
True story.
Yeah.
What else you got?
I think that was it. Just like I don't want the camera on Swifty. I want it to focus on how good we are and how much we can put up points, and the Chiefs just aren't the Chiefs anymore because I'm just over the dynasty, and I think it's time for us to transcend.
Yeah. Listen, it wouldn't make me feel bad either. I'm right there with you. Jonathan, thank you for the call, man.
All right. Thank you.
James, you going to turn this mother out for me over there, too? Do. Benedict Mathurin back tonight. Rick Carlisle before the game, and I'm sure that Pat Boylan's going to document this at the bottom of the hour, unsure of the minutes restriction, pitch count, whatever you want to call it, upon his return. But you got to like it. Need a little Mathurin return. I mean, anything with anybody that can play and not taking a beating as they've taken has been brutal. Yes, James, you got something over there for me? That's it. I think that's 1989 right there for Turn This Mother Out. He was still MC Hammer at this point.
This is a greatest hits. That's why. Okay.
I got you.
The date on this is very wrong.
Understand. Rick Carlisle did say, I saw this earlier, that Benedict Mathurin available. Is he available? I hope so. I don't know what the minutes are going to look like. We got to watch it. So that, with a one-win team this season so far, is certainly going to be a point of interest. With that return coming up a little bit later on. JMV, how much of the Pacers situation is on Rick Carlisle? He gets the accolades when they're doing well. Shouldn't he shoulder part of the blame right now? That's from JC. I almost look at it as, oh, wow, with this team, with some of these supporting guys not doing anything right now, and how, to me, I think it makes Carlisle look even better, and certainly it makes Tyrese Halliburton look like the MVP, like the all-the-time MVP. With how differently they looked. It's just the disappointment level for me is the dudes that have been here. Like Robinson Earl or Monte Morris, whatever. And in particular, the one draft class where those two guys have essentially given you little to nothing. It's highly disappointing. To me, at least. JMV, that song sounds awful. Turn This Mother Out sounds awful.
What year did you say, by the way?
89.
The album was released in 88. I think the single was released in 89.
Well done. JMV, I heard you talk about Curt Cignetti. We referenced him on social media as a grifter, trying to make money out of being an imposter. Okay. Cignetti. I just saw it come across my desktop as from Washington, Indiana. Davies County's own Curt Cignetti. Brandon's next on Anything Goes at 239-1070. Hello, Brandon.
Hey, JMV, what's up, man?
Brandon, long time no talk.
Yeah, I got busy this weekend, but I'm going to try to be at the Free Spirit. I think is that what it's called on Thursdays?
Thursday is the Free Spirit, Brandon, my good pal.
Friday you're at the Tap, huh? District Tap, huh?
District Tap, North Side Friday, Bud Light Blue Friday, indeed.
Yeah, I'll try to come to both of them. But I'm a Bengal fan, but I can't believe that we're spitting on people now.
Well, you can't be spitting on anybody, can anybody?
No, you can't.
You cannot.
You can't. I can't do that. I mean, I don't know, whatever. But yeah, but I hope the Pacers can get this turned around. But I mean, just getting blown out like that's what disturbing. I thought they had better talent than that. I know you can say injuries, but
yeah.
Boy, something's got to give, doesn't it? I mean,
yes, there's no doubt about that. It's you would look at it differently if you're not losing by 30 and giving up $152 or 133 or 129. I mean, this is beyond just, it's embarrassing. There's zero resistance happening right here.
Right. I have a hard time accepting that. I mean, because we do have good talent. And I know you've had a lot of injuries, but first of all, why those happen, and another reason, where's the talent that we've seen last year, even when we had injuries.
I think right now we can look at how many of these dudes are going to be essential upon the return, hopefully, to normalcy next year with Tyrese Halliburton. And then how good has Tyrese Halliburton been where these guys look so drastically different without him? There's your MVP. He should get a raise out of this.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something else. And if the Colts beat the Chiefs, I think they're on their way. I mean, I think it's really a good thing going West 56th Street with management and all that. I think it's a good thing, John.
You got it, Brandon. I'm going to see you coming up on Thursday. The Free Spirit.
All right, buddy. I'll see you then.
Larceny Bourbon Locks, Luna Azul Tequila Shots. Thursday, the Free. Me, Brent Halverson. JMV, how lost does Jarris Walker look out there nightly? I'd rather see you out there. Me too. I'd rather see me than Jarris Walker. That version of Jarris Walker, and really that's the only version we know. Other than late rotational spurt minutes. But when you're out there and you actually have to do something, you're counted on to do something, that's what you give. Then the same thing for Ben Shepherd. Hey, be broke as a joke on your own time. But that's the one thing we're all going to learn about this. And if you remember, everybody described this Pacer team as, well, here's the situation. We're going to see what others can do. But what happens when others do jack squat? Who has separated themselves as essential personnel again when hopefully things are back to normal? Not many. Not many. SPT says JMV is working late today. You got to love it. I walked out in the hallway a little bit after 5 and it was already dark. Son of a gun. Already dark. Stephen Holder a little bit earlier, the podcast at 1075thefan.com. Chris Denary there as well. JMV, how concerned should we be with the Pacers drafting capabilities with the top pick in play? Seems like that they are better trading for players instead of drafting. I'm kind of with you on that. I guess you'll end up drafting and trying to grow it for the future, but I guess it would depend, Tyler, on what you would see and what you're capable of getting. But I understand right now thinking about how, you've been in the lottery and you see, Jarris Walker doesn't even look like he can help anything out right now. Yeah, the drafting capabilities, as opposed to bringing somebody in that can help you right away. I will say this, if you get up in the top 3, you better draft somebody that can help you out right away. Can't believe we're already talking about that before Thanksgiving. Yuck. JMV, this is from my friend John Martin. Do you remember Josh Bidell? Had a full basketball ride to Vermont out of Columbus East, but was in a terrible car accident his senior year, resulting in some pretty bad neurological damage. I believe Jake was talking about this the other day as well. And I do remember Josh very well. He is a member of my gym at CGX CrossFit and has been working his tail off. Shout out to CGX CrossFit down in Bargersville, too. He is qualified to the, is it called Wodapalooza CrossFit Games in Miami coming up in March in the Major Neurological Adaptive Division. This is huge. At one point, there were questions if he'd be able to walk again, and now he is doing this. Shout out to Josh Spidell. I want to say that Jake was talking about this last week. I may have just caught the tail end of it. But yeah, that is one hell of a story. Thank you for sharing, John. CGX CrossFit, Bargersville. Yeah, there may be a difference. Like Nick's suggesting that with this draft class, you know, maybe you just can't go wrong. I mean, how do you mess it up? I get what you're saying there. Like, we're a long way away from all this. It's frightening territory when you think about having this discussion before Thanksgiving. Highly unfortunate it is. JMV must win for Kansas City against the Colts on Sunday. Otherwise, they fall under 500. It's going to be a tough game for the Colts, but they can win if they don't turn the ball over. And the offensive line protects Jones. They're going to have to do something that they have been unable to do, even with the win in the last two, but unable to do in the last two. That is 100% right because, James, I brought this up a little bit earlier, really a number of times, that the thing that concerns you the most is not so much Mahomes and the offense. That is normally your major concern, but to me it's Spagnuolo and doing what Pittsburgh did 2 weeks ago and what Atlanta did in Berlin nearly 2 weeks ago. In different ways. Now, Atlanta did it with blitzing, and they blitzed the entire year. That's been their forte. But Pittsburgh did it with old-fashioned, reliable dudes. And Kansas City has some old-fashioned, reliable dudes that get after the quarterback. You know, Chris Jones being one, Karlaftis being another. So it's one thing to talk about how, and you saw yesterday, Patrick Mahomes kind of shouldered the blame for that performance and that loss in Denver and how they've looked, and he's got to be better. And while obviously the offense is something you always look at first with Kansas City, to me, in terms of how it relates to the Colts, it is that defense. 100% agree with you on that. And it is, I don't know how many times in the past, the recent history, that we've been under the assumption that a team playing the Colts would be in a must-win situation. You're going to have a number of those coming up, too. If you look at the Colts schedule, Kansas City on Sunday, Houston at home, at Jacksonville, you've got 3 straight teams that are going to be in must-win mode, in survival mode against the Colts coming up. I can't imagine the last time we talked about one team that felt as if they were in that category playing the Colts. But you have 3 straight weeks of that. And we don't know what Seattle's going to look like. We're seeing kind of the disintegration of Sam Darnold. We were talking last week about Sam Darnold, that there was going to be an MVP guy, Sam Darnold. You know, people have talked about Matthew Stafford. We bring up around here, and rightly so, Jonathan Taylor and why he should be at the top of the list. Kind of wonder if maybe Sam Darnold is starting to eliminate himself in that category. But back-to-back-to-back must-win games for the opposition against the Colts starting in Kansas City on Sunday. That is some amazing stuff right there. I can't remember the last time it happened in general, but certainly 3 straight times. JMV, it's nuts. You said nuts. It's so dark out early. We need to go back to Indiana time, which was a thing when you were setting up your computer a long time ago. I do like the summertime when it's like light out until 10:30. JMV, I have read Cooper Flagg would go no higher than 5th right now if he is reclassified this past season. So I think what Nick is referencing here, if you have one of the top 3, then you can do no wrong. And the other thing is you want to bring somebody in that is a top 3, if that is indeed the case, but you have to go find yourself a big because what they have right now ain't it. None of the 3. And really, Isaiah Jackson, backup-wise, backup minutes, you don't have anything near a starter. And then, hell, at times, I think Bradley is a better backup option. You know, after that, barely rotational dudes, what you're talking about. So true. 1 win Pacers, 1-12 on the season. Pat Boylan's going to have you coming up here at the bottom of the hour, Pacer pregame show. Looks like we're going to see the return of Benedict Mathurin. Hallelujah. Get my man Soren Petro on. He hosts a show for a number of years in Kansas City. How desperate the Chiefs are coming up on Sunday. We'll get Soren on the show coming up tomorrow. Sean writes this, JMV, you could also twist the Swatch watch protectors to create a different look. Remember that, indeed. Shout out to Anything Goes and me going until 6:23 tonight. Back with you coming up tomorrow. More Bullseye Big Ten Championship game pregame passes to give away coming up tomorrow. Free Spirit Thursday, District Tap Northside Friday. James, great job out of you today. Pacer pregame coming up next. Don't go anywhere. Got it for you right here. It's 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Have a great night.